I don't think we're on Rumble.
Check again. Doing a mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's weird.
After the mic check, I will just skip ahead. Then when we post it, I'll kill the intro from it.
Okay.
We'll just skip ahead. Then when we post it, I'll kill the intro from it.
Okay.
I got echo from you.
All right.
Check 2.
I like to pop out the chats. Ow, come on.
Oh, that's weird. It backtracked. Check 2.
I will say that sitting at the desk is a lot harder than sitting at the couch.
I think we're ready. I'll wait for that to come through. If that sounds good, we'll just start.
Sounds good.
Hang on, everyone. Turn down your gain slightly. Maybe like 2.
All right, how's that?
We'll find out. Almost there.
Right now I'm set at 15.
That sounds good. Okay, I think we're... You know, I want to try to get rid of the countdown, but I don't know if I can. All right, this will be 5 minutes,
You just
30
gotta turn
seconds.
it off.
Give me one last check, Brian, and I think we're going to just do the thing.
Just cut it off early.
Cut it off. Cut it off. No more countdowns.
Just stop it. We'll do it in post. We'll fix it in post. That's what we'll do.
They're going to make me look like a young Dolly Parton.
What?
Fix it in post.
I don't know it. No, for the plastic surgery or...
Gen Z has
Mind over Matt is here. Tis going well.
one more down on gain.
Yes, sir. Tis done.
Okay, good enough. We're good. I'm gonna
All right.
shut off my phone and we're gonna start.
Done
We
playing
start
with the
early.
knobs.
I've done turning the nerd knobs. Okay, everybody. We're going live. No more music, no more intro. AI told us that the intro was causing people to tune out, so now I'm trying to listen to AI because AI knows everything. It's got it
It
all
knows
figured
all.
out. It knows everything. And apparently I know nothing. So Brian had an interesting topic today. He wants to talk about the real reason the United States wants Greenland. And we've got
I
some...
don't think it's what you think it is.
You
That's
don't
all
think...
I'm saying.
And he sent me a few links about it. He's got it right from the White House. Now, I haven't read any of this, honestly. So I'm really curious to know what it is that you're seeing. So before we get started, we show our portfolio every time. I just got a quick note here. Today is a opportunity day. I call days that go down as opportunities because that's typically when you want to buy something is when it goes on sale. We've got 240% gain over the course of 2 years. Portfolio's up to 117,000. Our positions here are, oh, here they are. I think it's probably Intel. Let's see what Intel dropped today. Pretty bad. Let's go take a look at that. Day change. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was Intel. They're still up 82% though. So I don't know. That's a 5-year play. That's not a. I don't really care that they're dropping today, and they're up too much for me.
And
to
I
really
still
want
think
buy
they're going to
them.
go up.
You
Even
do?
from where they're
Yeah.
at. I think
Yeah,
they're
I do
still going to
too.
go up.
So before the end of the stream, we're going to talk about Greenland first. But before the end of it, I want to buy a stock. We've got some cash. We got to figure out where to put it. And then as far as like what we really care about, we don't really care about this stuff. What I care about, because I'm a paranoid apocalyptic nerd, I care about this. And oh, we got a pay raise. Check it out.
Hey, $1.
$1. I made another dollar. Woohoo!
$1 a month. Hey man, it all adds up. Just keep going. Keep it going up.
You should have the Bill O'Reilly audio. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
We are live.
Yeah, we're
And
doing
it
it
is
live.
a snowpocalypse, and it's extremely cold.
Welcome to the great white up north.
Yeah, we're mimicking Greenland. That's how it is. So
There's 2 British guys visiting that do a lot of YouTube and Facebook talking about America and from a British viewpoint, and they're here visiting and just flabbergasted about how we live in such harsh conditions.
I don't see it as harsh. I mean, until I go outside and basically I shrink 3 sizes and almost die. But
Yeah.
you know, that's normal.
They were in
That's-
Holland just recently.
I guess one of them went to the hospital too.
Yeah, herniated disc from like sledding and stuff.
we had Nate Black here, and he had like a sciatica thing going on. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, man, this state is pure Michigan.
It's rough. It's not for the weak of heart, man. You come here, you better be hardy stock, or you're gonna get injured.
So moving to what we want to talk about today, I want to, while you're talking, I'm going to go through the article with you, but I want to look at some stocks while you're talking and while we kind of discuss what's going on with Greenland and maybe even Iran. And then we got to figure out what it is we're going to buy. And right now, this is the one that's at the top of my list. I know it's not exciting, people. Get over it. And then I also connected our account back to Seeking Alpha. We've got a discount. If you go to our channel, take a link, you can get a discount. You can buy the stuff. So as far as like what I want to show people here, if you want to get an idea of how we do things and why we do them, I want you to look at this profitability grade. Now, we have one stock with an F. It's surprising. It's Rumble. And nobody here is surprised about that. But everything else down below,
Duh.
they all make a lot of money. So before that, let's talk about this Greenland thing with Trump, because there is a lot of media coverage surrounding this, and he's talking about like, well, this is a national security thing. We've got well, like CNN and Washington Post, and Huffington Post, and the Drudge Report, and all the people out there saying like, well, this could be a resource grab. What do you think? Because I don't think it's just a resource grab.
There's a couple things out there. People think it's a resource grab for the rare earth minerals and the oil and the gas that's in the ground, which is huge. Or is it a strategic location for launching ballistic missiles from Greenland in order to protect Europe or the United States from attack? Is it just a tool that he's using, kind of like the tariffs, to get his way? He wants something else, but he's using Greenland to do that. So there's a lot of ideas out there. I don't think it's some of that, right? Like if we go in, we're going to have Exxon or whoever, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, see who's going to benefit if we do get Greenland. Because this is like a stock show in finance, right?
Trump snubbed Exxon over in Venezuela. You think he's going to do it over in Greenland?
Well, see, Exxon's already there. So he'd have to kick him out, like bring, he has to bring somebody else in.
You're not MAGA. I don't like you. Get out. I'm going to bring in the best people, the most beautiful people, the people with the richest
Exxon, you're
oil.
out. Chevron's in.
The golden oil.
Come on, Chevron. Yeah.
So, anyways.
But I think it's part of that. I think if we do get it, if we buy it, or if there's some sort of referendum, which the people vote and speak their mind and say, yeah, all 57,000 people that live there say, yeah, let's be part of the U.S. and we get it.
That's
We're of course going
to
to drill
57,000 people. That's it.
I'm that giant.
There's more people than that in my town.
There's not that many people. Well, it's very harsh. It's like living on Antarctica, It's not the most hospitable environment to live in, right? It's pretty.
So here's a question for Chad. Do they have penguins? I think they got penguins, and I would assume they do.
Maybe. I don't know.
So
I'll have to look.
Before we get into why you think that, I want to read a little bit of this article here, just to kind of understand what's actually happening.
And this comes right from the White House. It's their national security strategy outline. I've read it, and a lot of it actually makes sense. So, but if you go through it, it's the playbook that if you see all the stuff he's doing, this is the playbook that they're working from.
All right, so this is what he said. Now, I'm going to look at the signature real quick, because I see a D. Nope, I can't understand that at all. So, all right, we're going to go to what he said. So he goes, my fellow Americans, over the past 9 months, I can't do a Donald Trump thing. I'm not going to do that. So over the past 9 months, we have brought our nation and the world back from the brink of catastrophe and disaster. Okay. After 4 years of weakness, extremism, not going to argue with that, and deadly failures, my administration has moved with urgency and historic speed to restore American strength at home and abroad and bring peace and stability to our world. Good luck with that, dude. No administration in history, here we go. No admission in history has achieved so dramatic turnaround in such a short time. I can hear him saying that. Starting on my first day in office, we restored the sovereign borders of the United States and deployed the United States military to stop the invasion of our country. Okay, we have got radical gender ideology and woke lunacy out of the armed forces and began strengthening our military with $1 trillion of investment. We rebuilt our alliances and got our allies to contribute more to our common defense, including a historic commitment from NATO countries to raise defense spending from 2% to 5% of GDP. That's actually kind of impressive. We unleashed American energy production to reclaim our independence and imposed historic tariffs to bring critical industries back home. In Operation Midnight Hammer, we obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity. Yes, they did. I declared the drug cartels and savage foreign gangs operating in our region as foreign terrorist organizations. And over the course of just 8 months, we settled 8 raging conflicts, including between Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Dominican Republic, Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and India, goodness, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan. How do you say that?
I think you
Azerbaijan.
just said Azerbaijan.
Wow, I said something right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And ending the war in Gaza with all living hostages returned to their families. I will admit that is pretty good.
Keep
America,
in mind that this document, I think, is like 6 or 7 months old as it is, but it's still relevant. I mean,
he just kind of like rinses and repeats it. It's like, okay, I got to say it again. So America is strong and respected again. I guess it depends on who you talk to. And because of that, we are making peace all over the world. Now, this is in everything we do, we are putting American first. What follows is a national security strategy to describe and build upon extraordinary strides we have made. This document is a roadmap to ensure that America remains the greatest and most successful nation in human history and home of freedom on earth. In the years ahead, we will
right.
continue to develop every dimension of our national strength, and we'll make America safer, richer, freer, greater, and more powerful than ever before. Then he signs it, and then there is man, there's 30 pages of all this. He's got all the regions defined. Did you
Yeah,
read
we
this
don't
whole
have to read
thing?
all that. He did not create this. Who was it, Secretary of State or somebody else did this part. He just wrote the foreword.
Now, if you want to read this yourself, I'm going to post a link to
Yeah, put the
this,
link out there.
and you guys can see this. I think it's really
And
fascinating.
yeah, I did read it. We don't have to read
And
the whole thing, but
summarize. Do the AI,
every
Brian.
everything that he's talked about as far as um, attacking the drug cartels, strengthening our Western Hemisphere presence to, you're going to do it, to dealing with the European Union, helping to get industry back into the United States and manufacturing. Everything that he's done is outlined in this. So all you have to do is read this to know what he's going to do.
How many people out there do you think are actually reading this? Because I've seen all sorts of like the Trump derangement thing going on. I've seen the left come in there and say it's just resources. I've seen some really crazy, weird things on X
Yeah.
where this lady goes out there and she says, well, this is really about the World War II doctrine that the
Oh,
military put out. Like she
the
thought that this was
Promethean action
yeah,
that
like
you said. Yeah.
so I mean,
Well,
I
he
don't,
discusses that. The Monroe Doctrine is in here.
is it really?
Yeah. So she discusses the Monroe Doctrine. Trump basically stated that we're reinitiating it. It didn't go away. It's still there. There it is. Um, and we're going to continue with what the Monroe Doctrine says.
So really, if you don't know what the Monroe Doctrine is, it was a theoretical study on what happens if like NATO doesn't exist and we have to go to war with Britain. Like it was a pretty bad situation. Like we're pretty friendly with Britain right now because they own a lot of resources in the United States. But it's interesting that he would know about this. So these crazy posts that you see, like this conspiracy almost things that you see in X, there's some truth to
Yeah.
that. And that's what's fascinating to me. It's like,
But
okay, so where does it actually sit? Is it really that extreme or is it somewhere in the middle?
this is it right here. The biggest thing in the Monroe Doctrine, yeah, it's part of keeping UK in check and Europe in check. Can't get a presence in the Western Hemisphere and thus attack us from there.
You know what this reminds me of? It's the same issue that Putin had with NATO expanding into Ukraine. It's almost out of the same playbook,
Right.
which makes you wonder what's really going on with NATO.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so they have right here, this is on page 20. It says the United States must reconsider our military presence in the Western Hemisphere, just like you said. This means four obvious things: a readjustment of our global military presence to address urgent threats in our hemisphere. I wonder what they mean by urgent. It's like, I don't think anybody in Europe is like, those United States guys are jerks. Let's bomb them. I don't think.
Well, no, think Venezuela.
I do see a problem there.
That's what they're talking about. So if you keep going, it talks about the drug cartels, and they don't mention Venezuela by name, but countries who harbor drug cartels, and
Yeah,
we're wiping them out. So
that's right here. That's
that's
on
part
this
of
bullet
it.
point.
Oh, there, the cartels included, yeah.
So they're saying they
Okay.
want a more
So
suitable
yeah,
Coast Guard, Navy presence to control sea lanes, thwart illegal and other unwanted migration. So, what's your take on all that? Is he?
um, I'm okay with it.
You're okay. So you think that our presence in Greenland is more about a logistical, like military strategy to enforce, like maybe they're not going to ship a whole bunch of Venezuelan oil to Russia? You
I
know?
think Greenland is different because there's a multifaceted plan here. I think part of it is controlling the ocean and the waterways within the North and Southern Hemisphere, North and Southern America. So going through the canal, Panama Canal, and going around South America there, and just keeping everything in this hemisphere controlled. I think that's what part of what they're talking about. I think Greenland is different. I think Greenland is a negotiating tool to weaken the European Union.
That explains some of the almost panicky attitude coming out of the UN and all the European nations. Like that makes sense. It aligns with kind of what they're talking about with the Monroe Doctrine and why NATO is saying what they're saying. I heard that there is Trump said that they've got a deal going now where the United States will get everything that they want, and it doesn't have to be a military intervention or anything.
Well, he wasn't going to do military anyway, but it won't involve an annexation of Greenland. So it could still be Greenland, their own little country, but we have full reign and full rule over it.
What do you think about Canada getting kicked out of the peace agreement? Like the little peace thing? Like they didn't like what Trump was doing. He's like, you're out.
From what I hear about that is they wanted what's the new prime minister's name? I can't remember his name. We'll have to look it up. But he wanted to make sure that the money, the $1 billion that he gives to become part of the whole peace council, is going to Gaza. And we weren't going to tell him. So he's like, fine, I'm out.
I think there's some truth in what you're saying based on what I'm reading here in this article, because if I had to picture this, what does this say? I mean, if you're one of the like climate change people, I kind of am. I got some guys that work at NASA that are friends of mine, and they show me the measurements. Like these are actual instruments in the ocean, so they're just saying this is what's happening, and yeah, you can measure the difference. It's kind of like me with caffeine and me without caffeine. You can actually see Tom is really slow, drawl, boring, and says a lot versus caffeine, where he just sounds like somebody's grabbing him in places he shouldn't be grabbed. But like we've got some truth to the fact that, hey, we think, or at least some governments believe, that the ice cap in the North Pole is creating enough of a melting sequence to create shipping lanes.
I just typed that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was answering mine over Matt's question.
Oh yeah, I just see that now. Sorry, Matt. You beat me to it. But that's
Same thing.
I think we've got a thing here where the United States sees something and they want to have some control, because if we don't have Greenland there, how do we ship? You have to go through the very contested, like over down way south over the Cape. You have to go through the Panama or the Suez canals, and neither one of those are in that great of a location, and you pay all the fees and tariffs along the way. So this makes sense from a United States interest thing. The thing that just floors me though is that if you just read this and then you go and you look at like I don't know, let's see if I can do ground.news and see if I can find some stuff. I don't want to subscribe.
There you
No,
go.
I
Click
want to be
proceed.
free.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's not those things. I think it absolutely is the minerals that we want, and it is the strategic location to build our Golden Dome missile defense system, and it is the controlling of the waterways around Greenland, especially the new sea routes for trade. I think it's all of those things. I think there's a mixture. But if you look at the pie chart, I think weakening the EU, the European Union, is a bigger piece of the pie that they're not showing. They don't talk about that. He hints about it because, like at Davos, he stated that having strong sovereign states or sovereign countries is more important than having a strong EU because the EU is weak and can't protect the whole of the countries that are a part of it. And Trump's talking about wanting to build up the military, building up the economy of France, Spain, Denmark, UK, all the countries that are made up of it to become a better Europe.
Wonder how he plans on doing that because these are sovereign entities. Like, are you just going to go into France and tell them how to conduct business? I don't think they're going to listen. That's just
You tariff them until they comply.
So
But they want, here's the thing, they're all part of NATO, and they want our protection, and they can't protect themselves yet. So as soon as they can protect themselves, then we'll have less into it. And I think one of his negotiating tools, he hasn't done this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised when he threatens to pull out of NATO. Because if the U.S. pulls out of NATO, NATO collapses.
I don't think that's too far from the truth because when you looked at what happened the moment he was elected, before he ever took office, you had this like all of a sudden Germany decides to start giving Ukraine munitions and they increase their defense spending. Like all these countries like, oh crap. It's
Yep.
2.0 time. We need to fix this. So
I think the biggest fear with the European Union is they could potentially become a very strong entity, kind of like the USSR was, right? It had a common goal. It was not great as far as Western ideology and right, versus a capitalist society, and they hated us. So we had the Cold War for 20 years, which could potentially happen with Europe. What I think the biggest problem is their societies and their cultures are changing within the European Union.
a lot.
I'm not blaming Muslims, but Muslims are part of it that are pouring into the country, and other countries that don't align with their cultural sovereignty of their country. So it's being diluted. They're not assimilating like what happened in America. They're taking over. And once you get a majority, then your country is no longer your country. It's their country, right? So I think that's one of the biggest, I don't know, not complaints, but what am I trying to think of? Negative against the European Union is that it will become strong, but it won't align with Western ideology anymore. And they'll become a combatant against the United States. And of course, we help them become a powerful one that could possibly challenge us. And we want to thwart that now.
That's quite the, it's almost like an accusation, but it's quite the statement that, like, a lot of times when you're looking at what the media says, and this is like, we're a finance channel, right? So you need to look at this through the lens of how does this affect your retirement, your investments, your passive income, your job. But when we see this stuff, like, the media doesn't tell the whole story. And when people say, oh, we got to drain the swamps, like, I got news for you guys. The media is the swamp. It's not like they're reporting the swamp. They are the swamp. So you got it because they have a lot of influence in Washington. They've got a lot of influence to help people get elected. They have a lot of influence to help people like promote a product. So even us, like if we were on USA Today or something, they can do that. Now, am I saying that all media is evil? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that there's a lot of like top-down economics that are coming from a very select group of very powerful people that dictate what these people in the media can say and they can't say. And a lot of that has an agenda. So you have to be very careful with like, okay, I want to, I don't know, let's say it's the 1913s and you've got a horse and buggy. You know, you try driving that on the highway today, you're going to die unless you're in North Michigan. Then you probably just be accepted and welcomed into the community.
Well, you got the Amish, you know, you just go around them, right?
It's just a known thing over there.
You know they're there, so.
It's funny when they've got their horse and buggies, and then you go see their factory, and it's like the most modern thing you've ever seen. They got like laser cutters and fiber optics and stuff. You're like, wait a minute.
Or they've got like this house that the community built. They all put it up, but it's got like this big satellite dish.
Right, Dish Network right on top. That's funny. So regarding to Greenland.
To go back to your statement as far as, okay, we're a finance channel, how does this really affect finance? Well, it's a large economy, right? The European economy is very big, and they're a trade partner of ours. So if we are no longer allowed to trade, or there's a lot of tariffs on us to trade with them, that affects our products, that affects our manufacturing, it affects a lot of things here, and the businesses that we invest in to gain retirement and financial freedom. So this all eventually affects your pocketbook.
And I'd like to highlight, too, that Greenland has a part to play in the global logistics. Like, it's not just a United States economy anymore. That all changed with NAFTA, like back when Clinton was office, because now you've got an economy where even like most people that I work with, unless you're a local government or a nonprofit, they got offices all over Europe. In fact, one of our friends, we were going to go sledding with him last weekend. She's over in Europe this week because she's got to do something for a migration they're doing. It's very integral. So for all the chest pounding and the political stuff, sure, they're fighting over resources, but this affects all of these businesses directly, not sideways, not like, I mean, if we look at, we sold the Honda stock because the CEO came out and said, hey, these tariffs are going to affect the business 60%. Like net revenue is going to drop 60%. That's why, unfortunately, like I know social media likes, okay, don't be edgy, don't be political and all that. It's like, well, if you're looking in finance, that's really hard not to look at this stuff because it does have a direct correlation. And one of the things you have to be able to parse out is like, okay, I'm a little bit center right, and I've always been that way. I don't believe in extremism on either side, but I have to know what the left thinks. I have to know what the right thinks, and I have to know how to parse those two things to figure out how does this Greenland thing affect ExxonMobil? How does it affect Chevron? This is actually why I'm so fascinated by stocks, because it's like so much you can actually see in the market how these decisions like impact these businesses, and then look out a couple years later and see what happens to the stock. Here's a perfect example. Look at Intel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we saw this coming. They're not our top performer anymore. Comerica is because of the Fifth Third Bio, our one share. But no, Intel is up 82%. So if you're looking at like, how do I invest, you have to pay attention to these things. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can buy an ETF. You can get a mutual fund, you get a financial advisor, max out your 401k. But if you're not doing that and you're not trading individual, or you are trading individually, you got to look at this stuff. And that's where it becomes challenging, because I don't want to like piss people off. It's social media. It's really easy to do. Somebody could probably tune in and look at my hair and go, that guy is ugly. I don't like him. You're just stupid.
I don't like how you talk.
Yeah, I don't like the way you sound. I don't like the way your face looks when you talk. There's no cats in this video. I want out. So
those stupid red lights behind you.
Yeah, like what? who does sun catchers? That's so 1950s. Yeah, well, they're from my grandma, so get over it. But here's the thing that I want to get when and actually relating this to Greenland is you got to know this stuff, because if you don't, your investment decision might be way wrong. Way, way, way wrong. So here's what the Ground.News says on the bias comparison between the left and the right in Greenland. This is what I like about Ground News. They'll tell you which side is leaning where. So they're saying,
and Ground News, if you want to sponsor us, feel free to reach out.
yeah, I mean, we use you, so it's kind of nice to know. So it really helps us out. But left-leaning outlets frame discussions around world order, emphasizing pressure from Trump and Europe being relieved but vigilant after an emergency summit, just like we said, portraying a firm, not negotiable stance on sovereignty. Right-leaning coverage, conversely, focuses on a Trump deal, highlighting challenges to it and asserting specifics about military bases while de-emphasizing broader geopolitical implications, which is what we need to know. So this is why I was saying you need to know what the left thinks. Because they both equally, and well, I shouldn't say equally, but most of the time they both have good points. So the center perspective provided economic context, detailing Greenland's 17 billion barrels of crude oil and rare earth potential, reporting locals were fed up with unacceptable rhetoric. Well, if I was living there too, I probably wouldn't want to be taken over either. So all 50,000 people. While all sides agreed on sovereignty was a red line, that's a good sign, and details remained unclear, the left highlighted European reactions and the right focused on military specifics. Imagine that. It's almost like the industrial complex kind of sponsors the right. Just, there's other things that sponsor the left, so there's problems on both sides, but the right focused on military specifics and Trump's clarifications, and the center underscored local sentiment and economic value, revealing ideological divides over international relations and national interests. This tells me that when you go to X and you see some of these conspiracy people that are like, oh, this is about the Monroe Doctrine, they're not 100% wrong. They got some things wrong, but they're not completely off. And you won't see this stuff just if you go to like Drudge or Huffington Report. Like if New York Times, the only place you go is New York Times. You're not going to see it. You have to check multiple sources. So I don't know. I think what I really wish would happen is in the media when you're talking about things like this, that they would just report the facts. They wouldn't, they wouldn't have this Trump is evil, or they wouldn't have Trump is our savior. Like it needs to not be that way, because people can't make decisions. And what you end up with is like the crazy extremist stuff you have with like, I hate to say this thing about ICE, because ICE is controversial as well. But they have there was a group of people sitting in a cafeteria. These were IT guys. They were programmers. And they looked like ICE agents. So the protesters came by and they attacked them. If you're not with, and the software programmers did not support ICE. So they forced them outside. They're yelling at them saying, if you're not with us, you're against us. Like, look, we don't support ICE either. And they just kept coming at them. It's like, that is,
we're not ICE.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Why would you not even let somebody talk? And that's where we have a problem. So when you're in public and you're trying to disseminate this stuff, that's the problem I think with the internet and social media, is that it's dividing people further, and it's making it harder for investors and normal people who are not extreme to disseminate what's actually happening here.
And that's part of the problem with the media as well. So if you go back to the 80s and 90s with Dan Rather and Tom Brokaw and those types, Peter Jennings, even Peter Jennings got caught in a scandal where he was supposedly reporting from a battlefield with a helicopter, but he was nowhere near it.
Oh, so, the green screen, yeah.
The green screen. He said he was there, and they just had it playing, and Dan Rather wasn't, much better with that. But they at least tried to stick to the facts and not put a lot of, political opinion into it. So it's just gotten worse and worse, and now they're competing with YouTube and X and all the social media sites like us who are reporting the facts, and they have to be more sensational than them to be able to get the views and the clicks. That's how they get their money, right? Other than, sponsored by Pfizer. So in one part, I can't blame them because they're a dying breed. But on the other hand, you still have to stick with your journalistic ideals. You have morals, right, that you're supposed to guide by.
I think that's a difficult thing to do when you're paid based on clicks now. Like, how do you, if you don't get paid and you can't feed your family or the company goes belly up, like, what do you do? So that's the concerning part, I think, in this whole thing. There's another article we have. Go ahead, Brian.
I say it used to be you just turn on your TV, it was on the major networks, or you got a newspaper, and advertisements paid for all that because of, you get an ad on TV or you get it in the newspaper, and that was it. Like now you got it. You turn on a social media site and you got jokers doing sometimes a better job than media to reporting the news.
We're perfect.
Yeah.
Social media algorithms, whether on purpose or by happenstance, really reinforce tribalism by feeding people more of what they want to see and not an honest look at that. That's true. People end up getting put in their own little echo chamber, and they think that they reinforce themselves, and really they're in the chamber. So how do you know? Could be a gas chamber for all they know.
Because they don't want to hear the other side.
And that's the part that's uncomfortable and where our channel struggles a little bit. One, because I sound like a nerd. I get it. I know that. But two, it's like, okay, we're dealing with finance, which we have to say, check your financial advisor, and like we have to do all that because it's true. You really should. And then two, like we're dealing with things that affect like sovereign entities and the stock market and businesses in the stock market. So it's like, you really have to be careful with how you say what's going on and how it affects things. And we're learning. I mean, this is only episode 44, so we'll figure it out. But we're going to stay true to our identity here. And I think you sent me one other article on the same topic, and this is a Seeking Alpha article, and you have to I think you have to be a subscriber for this. So this is the Davos Summit, Davos, not Davos.
Davos owns a bunch of buildings here.
Okay, so you read this, right?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay, I will do a summary, and then I'll get your take on this, because that's a long summary. I'll do the bullet points only.
Keep in mind, Eugenio is outside, is not a U.S. citizen, so he's speaking from a European viewpoint.
Okay.
So keep that in mind while you're reading it.
I like that. I like that thought process, because now you're getting it from somebody who's not like part of the corporate media here. You think they're part of that corporate media. So President Trump's Davos speech criticized EU energy and immigration policies, arguing that Europe is weakening itself and losing its identity. I would say that he's right, but the way he says it is like getting slapped on the face with a cheese grater. It's not the smoothest thing. The Greenland issue could just be a way to highlight the need to be defended by the United States. Strategically, Trump prefers negotiating with individual European nations over a unified EU, aligning with U.S. interests and national security strategy goals. U.S. protection may hinge on European purchases of long-term U.S. debt, which I know that was part of his deal, hinting at a shift in transatlantic financial and security arrangement. This is the Trump deal that I don't think anybody is really reporting on fully. I think they just say, "Oh yeah, it's a Trump deal and it's his thing, but it's not going to happen." That's them. So you read this.
They need to buy a certain amount of our debt, but not T-bills, not Treasury bills. So bonds and what's the other one? There's another part of the debt. I'll think of it. But that's what they have to buy. They can't just buy Treasury bills. So anyway, there's parts of here that I think he hits right on the button. and parts that are like, I think you might be reaching. But one of the things that he hits on is how the Green New Deal that AOC and the Democrats put out and then brought it to the European nations and NATO and so part of that is going to electric cars, and you'll rent everything, you'll own nothing and eat bugs and like it type thing.
Yeah.
But they found with like the Ukraine thing that dependency on Russian gas skyrocketed. And places like Germany, who shut down their nuclear sites, were hit hard. And they're coming to the realization that, we still need nuclear. We still need nuclear energy to supplement. So that was one of the more interesting things.
To your point, there's a spot here where it says it's not about sending a check every month. It's about making the United States debt more sustainable. And honestly, we've harbored on that for a long time. 38 trillion. Yeah. The average citizen's share of that is like over $200,000. Are you kidding me? But so he's trying to. That's a really fascinating. I mean, this tells you that they're a lot smarter than people are letting on. Yeah. And what I'd be really interested to see, if you look at wolfstreet.com, what Wolf Richter thinks about this, because that guy's got some charts that he pulls, and I've seen the site that he gets them from, but he compiles them really nicely, and he's got a pretty good intake. And then one of the
things much better at us.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have to go on live TV and say anything, so.
Well, that's his job, right? We got IT stuff that we still have to do.
Oh my God, I can't believe that Trump hasn't called the Greenland New Deal yet. No, that's right. Make Greenland better again.
Yeah.
What he could probably do to really piss people off is say, we're going to build Greenland back better.
Quick, Matt. You need to trademark that and then send it to him.
Yeah, just in case he says it. He'll probably say it anyways. So I think I would like to get the Wolf Richter take on this, because right now we do have a debt problem, and that does maybe help fix it. But the problem is if you start having these people buy T-bills in the United States debt directly because China's winding that down or whatever, it allows us. I don't think what it's going to do is, I don't think it's going to create like this measure of, we're going to be financially responsible. I think this is almost like, and anytime I've ever seen anyone with the government, especially the federal level, not state, well, maybe state, but local governments, they got no money. State, they've got money that they throw around randomly. Federal government, blank check, constantly. So I think what's going to happen here is it's going to buy all the debt, and you're going to have this massive like economic boom that's just free bills. I would not want to see that. Personally, I would want to see them, let's pay down the debt. Yeah. But that means you're not going to have the economic boom that Trump's pushing for. So
I'm with you on that for two reasons. One, the golden rule was what you're talking about. He who owns the gold makes the rules. And two, if you give somebody who is bad with money and is $30,000 in debt and doesn't have a pot to piss in, $1 million, they're going to be broke within a few months. Right? It's the same with the U.S. government. Fix your spending first, then we can work on this debt thing.
I think
otherwise
that's
you
true.
could pay down the debt, and then we'll just get right back into the problem because, hey, we got all this money to spend.
That's true. It's like, would you give your teenager a free credit card and say, hey, buy anything you want? They don't have any idea that the buy now, pay later is a problem. Like, you get that brand new car and it's great for 2 weeks, and the first time you take it into the shop, you're like, wait, I got 60 more months of this thing. Now, I have not had a car payment in a long time, and I saw that the average car payment's over $700. I thought, wait a minute. My first mortgage was $400. So, wait, what? You don't even have anywhere to live. It's a car. It's like the way people drive today, you're going to get into an accident. So, I think I like the thought process. I like where he's going. I just think that the bureaucratic lobbyist red tape and engine is going to destroy, just like what happened with Doge. Elon Musk comes in there and chainsaw was a stupid idea on national TV, but like he comes up there and he's saying, "Oh, we're going to cut all this. We're going to fix this for the next generation." Noble cause, very brave, honestly, because this guy is like he was pretty much in the middle. And both sides thought he was okay. And the moment he went out there with Trump and started sponsoring stuff, like immediately he lost like half his audience. Like half of them are gone. And then he took it a step further and said, I'm going to fix the debt problem of a bureaucratic nightmare. That is very ambitious. I don't think there's no way he would have been able to do that. But he had some good points about like this needs to get fixed. So he goes out there and he tries to do this Doge thing and he tries to like rein in government. And then where he had the falling out with Trump is he found out that the bureaucratic red tape is just going to come in and spend it again. Like they're just, oh, look, we got some cuts. Let's put it towards this program. Because lobbyists tells congressmen, hey, if you don't do this, you won't get reelected. And
yeah,
quite
we need
frankly,
to get rid of the lobbyists.
I mean, quite frankly, the Congress salaries are pretty darn good. So if you that was your paycheck and you liked, because I honestly think that a lot of these people like being in the public eye, why would you tell them no? Maybe
yeah.
you
what
got
do they make?
some
Like
virtue.
200,000, 250,000, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you've got some virtue, maybe you've got some morals, maybe you've got a compass, but like remember, there's a group of them, so you got two sides, and if you don't toe the line on one of the sides, you're going to get kicked to the curb immediately and ostracized and probably not reelected again. And if they know that you're in Congress and you say, oh, screw this, I'm going to go work in the private sector, and they know, oh, you were in Congress. Oh, let's go look at what this guy thinks. It's kind of like me being on social media, like, what am I doing? But, you know, the whole, like, oh, I don't agree with what he thinks. I don't think I will hire him. So good luck getting a job after that. So that's I mean, the pressure is real. The struggle is real in that environment. I don't think people understand that, like, when they don't vote or they don't toe the line, they're threatening, like, their family and their ability to earn money. Oh, but Tom,
Right.
these are all people who are attorneys and they make millions of dollars. Like, not all of them. Especially if you look on the left, when they started, they were all broke and now they're all rich. It's amazing how that works.
Well, look at AOC. AOC was a waitress, right? And now she's a millionaire.
It makes you wonder how that happens. It's kind of like it's not an accident, but at the same time, I mean, maybe AOC came in with an ideology, but that machine is big.
Yeah.
You're like a toothpick in a giant machine that runs a train that's like 10 miles long. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like
But
the empire is
AOC
real.
is kind of interesting because she's stupid, but she's not dumb. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she aligned herself and found people in Congress to make that, block of white ladies that wear all white and stuff, and they kind of started to take over the Democratic Party. So, I mean, in order to do that, you're very determined, one, and two, you have to have at least some sort of intelligence about you. Now, she says a lot of dumb things, but as far as manipulating people, she's very good at that.
You know what I will say about like both sides of it? I like it when they call each other out, quite frankly, because you get insight into things that maybe you didn't think about before. It's like, why are they virtue signaling about this thing, or why is this a big issue with them? And you learn that, oh, well, maybe I need to look at this from their perspective. Sometimes it's just like well, they gave me money, and that's the thing. But last live stream was off the charts, mind opening. Bring more of that good stuff. The used cars, new cars surprised me a lot. There is a lot more to that Brian has seen me nerd rage, probably more than I should have about. It cascades into the housing market, the credit card delinquencies, the foreclosures that are starting, the backlog of the probate cases happening. There's a lot of things going on right now. And there's a couple videos I've seen of, and I'm sorry, I'm derailing this a little bit. But where you can look on these used car dealers where they post on YouTube and they say, yeah, none of my cars are selling. But have you guys done some research on Chevrons and the other big oil companies? They are doing lots of bidding or acquisitions of new oils being found. That is on our radar. Right now, we're kind of focusing on like who benefits the most if the Greenland deal goes through. And honestly, I think it's ExxonMobil. once you get past all this stuff like this Davos, I can't say it right, the Davos article, and you get past all of the like the rhetoric, there's actual things happening behind the scenes that affect like shipping lanes, logistics, and oil and lithium, which affects all these businesses. So if we can get our lithium locally, I think this is part of it. So this is heeding some credence to what the left believes. We don't have to outsource any of that. Like it was just like Elon says, we're going to be able to produce more chips in the United States than anyone. Like we're going to produce so many chips, we're not going to know what to do with it. We're going to put them in Doritos. I don't know if that's true, but so I think Chevron would be. We got to look at their earnings report. I don't know when their X date is. When do we say like Chevron's earning date? Let's say Chevron's. This is how much I don't really care if the stock is like. This is how much I trust the stock's ability to stay in business. So it is
for Exxon and Chevron. Where is it?
Are they?
Because I was
like
doing research
3M?
on that.
Yeah, they're a regular earnings day. So these guys, we would probably have a good answer for that, probably in March. And you will know more about Greenland then too at that point, just to see what happens, and Venezuela too. But I don't think ExxonMobil is going to be in Venezuela. I think they're going to be in Greenland. So now we got two paths. I think Chevron is going to be taking over Venezuela. Now, on that same note, what I'd be really curious to find out is, because you're not going to see any of this in their earnings reports. You might see it in some of their news. But what I'd be curious to find out is with Chevron specifically, a lot of times there will be tax incentives for them to build up operations in Venezuela, because I heard there was like $60 billion that they need to spend just to rebuild everything that was destroyed or is dilapidated. So what I'd be looking out for, it's actually next week, their earnings right here. So we could look next week actually. What I would be looking for them in your case is where does the cost of that rebuilding go to? Do these guys have to pay for it? Are we going to subsidize that as taxpayers, meaning like, hey, you get a tax incentive? Or is it going to be one of those things where just the price of a barrel of oil goes way down and their margin goes way down? I don't think it'll be the third one. I think it's going to be a lot more of subsidies and benefits to probably further United States security interests. I think this is more of a like, hey, in case like there's a big problem in the Middle East and we can't get the oil to the United States, cities like New York and Dallas and Chicago can still continue to function as normal. I think it's more about that. So this is why policies affect businesses that you invest in. So on that note, we do have to buy a stock. Are we done with Greenland? Does anybody else got any questions and thoughts on Greenland?
We'll give it a minute.
I heard Exxon was doing well ahead on things, and Chevron was on the news a lot. Yes, they were. Well, they are. They still are. Exxon was low on the news, but heard things were done. Yeah, they're probably behind the scenes working on the Greenland thing too, because like you said, they're already there.
Yeah, they've got a very, very small contingent there in one of the provinces or one of the areas, not province, but one of the areas of Greenland. I can't remember what it was called. Started with a T. But that could ramp up because all the drilling, because of the EU influence on Greenland, all the drilling, all the mining was ramped down, and some of it was banned due to the Green New Deal policies. So with that gone, if the U.S. gets it, you know damn sure it's going to get ramped back up.
So there's a part in this article that I think is interesting that people need to see on that note. Now, I want to picture, because you said this is from a European's perspective, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think I want people to like also think about this. If you lived there, imagine a country the size and as far as like the need. We consume a lot of oil. So imagine being this little country and all of a sudden 390 million oil-thirsty citizens say, hey, you guys look nice. That is, I would be a deer in the headlights and like, no. But what do you, I mean, I guess Denmark is trying to say some things, but I think NATO and all of that's going to be a thing. So here's what we've got. In a way, so this is talking about, this is halfway through their article. Therefore, the second message of President Trump is clear. The enemies are approaching. Okay, Chinese and Russian ships all over Greenland. That is actually true. And without the United States, the NATO alliance has zero chances of survival. I agree and I don't.
I think they put up a fight, but if China and Russia decide that they want Greenland, Greenland is going down without the U.S. influence. Well, Denmark definitely can't do it on its own. I mean, it could barely do its own country, let alone another country. But I don't think the European Union has the military to defend it for long. I think the Chinese Navy would come over and just destroy them over weeks.
That's the sad thing too, is that they're figuring that out and they're trying to fix it, but that takes years. I mean, you're not going to fix that tomorrow.
Right.
So I guess in a way, President, I think we said so basically, Iran is it? I think this is the article.
There's one thing in this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to talk about too on this article when you're done with this.
Okay, so basically, Moran supports the idea of not taking for granted the United States military leadership at your disposal. Even if you are a part of NATO, modern-day Rome, in general, if you want to exploit the United States military and technological power, you have to pay for it.
Okay, stop.
Makes sense.
The paper written by Stephen Mirren, Trump's economic advisor. So Stephen Mirren, that's the guy who wrote the national security strategy that we're reading. That's who it was. All right.
Okay. It's all coming together. It's like jumping in the mud when your feet are sticking out. It's kind of, you realize you're stuck.
Yeah.
All right. So this paper dates back to, so this is like when people are saying elections, Obama once said this, he said elections have consequences. This paper dates back to November of 2024. But it's aging really well. No kidding. Who knew? Who thought that was true? So there was when Trump didn't get reelected, he had 4 years, I'm almost 5 fingers. He had 4 years to plan. It's like, all right, I'm going to get everybody, we're going to plan, we're going to make this happen. So, this is happening on the left too, but this isn't news. And I think it's funny how when they say that this thing is happening and the media is like, what, how is this? This is crazy. This is impossible. This would have never, I can't believe it. It's like, well, they have to do that to get the views. But if they had just read, would it really be that surprising? I don't think so. So since things are getting fuggy, and there's lots of uncertainty and pullback of the 1.3 trillion off the market, should the movement slow down or keep going for 6 months or escalate downhill? Wow, that's a really loaded question. This is where you got to kind of look at the M1, the M2 money supplies. If you're going to go down the economic pathway, you got to look at GDP growth. And I think GDP growth was I read this morning, at 4.4%. That's an amazing number because inflation is still flat or going down. It's still above where the Fed wants it. But those are good economic indications. They're not bad ones. If anything, I'd be a little bit more worried about the can getting kicked down the road and looking at the employment rates. So what you really want to track is consumer spending habits, the amount of job creation happening every month. The Fed does a beige book report, or they come out with a report every month, and I would look at that and see kind of where the consumer's going, because the stocks are tied to some of that. And one of the biggest things that, if you're not thinking about this directly, one of the things I'd be a little bit concerned about is demographics of the United States. I'm not talking about ICE, because believe it or not, we are deporting the same amount of people outside of the self-deporting, because that's different, that Obama did. It's the same number of people per day. But what we have is we have a boomer generation that is getting older. I'm not blaming them. I'm not getting into millennials versus boomers versus X. I mean, you can't, if you were a boomer.
How dare you get older?
Yeah, like
I
you
blame you for
born.
getting older.
How do you blame somebody for being born into the generation? You can't do that. So like, it's not their fault entirely. But what I would say here is like, you've got a generation of people that are getting older and they have spent their whole life working. So when they're saying, oh, the boomers got all the wealth, well, yeah, they've been working for 40 plus years. In fact, the younger boomers are in their 60s now.
And
So
more
you,
likely, they worked for the same company for 40 years.
yeah, that's not happening anymore. The global economy made sure of that. But if you're talking about, and this is for Vele's question in chat, if you're talking about like how is this going to affect it, I would be looking at their spending. So what you're going to have is a bunch of boomers going into drawing down their 401ks. That's going to pull money out of the market. They have to, otherwise you pay fees and stuff. Like there's a minimum withdrawal you have to do in your 401k. I would be looking at not only that, but I'd be looking at the amount of money that's fluctuating around an M1, M2 supply with this happening. Now, this isn't going to be like an instant thing. This is going to be, in fact, maybe I can pull up a Wolf Street because he covers this stuff. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So this is, and this is kind of where it gets a little bit muddy because sometimes people think that, oh my gosh, the housing market's going to crash, or like we talked about the used car market where if you're buying an entry level car, you can buy a new one cheaper than a used one. That happened in 2008. And we did that in a stream. You can go back and look at that for all the people who haven't seen it. But you really have to look at like demographics behind where GDP is going and where the money's going, and where now you're gonna have a lot of people pulling from the market. Now we have a lot of debt, and so conversely, the United States is the Fed's job is to keep the dollar as a reserve currency. There's a few other things it's supposed to do, but you've got like this drawdown, and then you've got $38 trillion of debt. And you've got still population growth. Now that's slowing down, but we are still growing as a population. So what you would really be looking at is I'd be looking at GDP growth. Take a look at that. Take a look at consumer spending and the employment numbers. Now, if you really want to get a good indication of like what's kind of happening economically, I would take a look at like stocks like DuPont, Johnson and Johnson, Procter and Gamble. Those kind of sell products that people have to have. And what you'll notice, especially with something like Johnson and Johnson, is when the economy is doing bad, they're high margin products. Now, these are like we're talking about Greenland. I shifted to expensive shampoos, but when you're talking about like their high margin products during a recession, the expensive shampoo doesn't get bought. They buy like the Suave or the cheap brands that don't have as high of a margin, and you see that show up in the earnings report. In fact, usually they talk about it during their earnings call. It's like, hey, we see signs of economic slowdown. So if you really want to pay attention to what's actually happening in the economy, you have to look that way. And it's not something that like people think that like 2026 is going to be the stock market's going to crash, and maybe Trump's trying to fix this with Greenland. And it's like, no, this isn't going to happen the way that it happened before. There's echoes of 2008. There's subprime lending that's starting to come back, and you've got everybody that bought a house in 2022 to 2020, late 2023, that's basically screwed. Sorry, guys, you paid what the rates were low and the house prices are really high. And we can talk about that in a second, but if we want to, if you're curious. But you've got a whole generation of people that are drawing down that are also stuck in their homes that have most everything paid for. So here's the question I'm going to ask you when you're asking this question about the $1.3 trillion pullback off the market. If you are not a boomer, you're a younger generation, and it requires top 10% salary to buy a house, how are you going to buy the house? If it requires you a $750 a month payment for a car, how are you going to buy a car? If you are a business and you're a landscaping company who has, I don't know, a fleet of vehicles, and you did I think it was, what did we say, 46%? I think we looked that up about a year and a half ago, what the average adjustable rate loan was on their fleets and vehicles and stuff back in 2023. How are you going to renew your loan if the ARM rate goes up? And it went up. Now, finally, you can see the Fed starting to lower rates, and that's a funny thing to watch if you're looking at them argue, we need to cut rates, we need to raise rates. And this is where like the Trump administration creates this uncertainty. So the reason why we buy the stocks that we do is because we don't try to predict those things. Because if you try to do that, you're going to get caught in a very vicious battle that most often the house is going to win. What if the Greenland deal doesn't go through? You know, what if Venezuela ends up not happening? What if Trump can't get peace in Ukraine? What if the midterm elections like go way left and now all of a sudden you have a deadlocked Congress? There's things there that when you look at how I'm buying my investment vehicles and how I'm buying like my retirement or even passive income, you have to be very careful about these events, because if you're not, you're going to get caught holding the bag. I mean, look at some of the stocks we talked about negatively. There's a few that we've been wrong about, but like we don't invest that way, so it doesn't affect us. And that's what I caution you about too, is like don't try to look at what's happening today. What I would try to look at is what is a good value relative to what products they make, and are they trading low relative to that? And that's why I was telling people earlier that, I'm sorry, Brian, I've got way off on a tangent. But this is why one of my favorite metrics is the TTM trailing 12 months earnings. So basically what that means is the price of the stock relative to their earnings, but you take it back 12 months. You take it back and say, okay, what were they at 12 months compared to where they're at today? And you can see what they're doing. Now, always base your purchases, in my world, on, and except for Rumble. If you look at our stocks here, Rumble's obviously not that. But you always base your stock purchases on products that people have to have. Why do you do that? Well, none of this stuff matters. It's like Kimberly-Clark. You still need toilet paper. During the pandemic, that stock went crazy. In fact, we can look at that. I'll pull them up here real quick. Then we'll go back to that Wall Street article. Credit and loan insurance companies should be all-time high because how things are, but shouldn't they now feel squeezed and come down? That is a very interesting thing. If you go back to a few videos, about a year ago, I think, we talked about somebody trolling us saying, you need to buy MasterCard and Visa. And we're like, nah, no. And we found out that it was like, I think it was 2 months later, that there was an article that came out, and that was in their earnings report where it came out and said that, hey, that's too long. We need to go back a little bit less than that. It was in their earnings report where it's like, yeah, people are forbearing their payments. They're not paying stuff.
It's not going to come down unless they're forced to, right? So the loan interest is a little bit different, but like insurance companies are still going to charge outrageous premiums if they're allowed to. There has to be an event that's going to, like what you said, squeeze them. And that's going to be either the lowering of interest rates as far as the Fed, or if there's some sort of policy that states that, okay, like Trump's trying to do, you could only charge 10% for the next year, right? You can't charge 30% interest on your credit card anymore.
Can you imagine if that goes through?
Oh, but like you said, the other thing that could happen is like people with their homes, car loans, whatever, is they just become delinquent. And the delinquencies rise and rise, and they just say, I'm not paying this anymore.
There was a repo market blowout that Wolf Richter covered, a very interesting article probably a few months ago, and I think it'd behoove you. Now, if you're reading this stuff, you're like, I don't understand any of this stuff. I'll just keep reading it. You'll pick up it's kind of like an infant learning things. You'll pick up things along the way. I'm not saying you're that way. I'm just saying that there's a lot of terms going on. So here is the inflation. So directly to answer your question, thank you, Wolf Richter, once more. You can see consumer spending, inflation adjusted. Now this starts at 12.5. So remember, but look at these numbers. There's nothing here that indicates that a failure is going to happen right away. And I think what Brian you just said about it has to be like I forget what they call it, like a unicorn event or
there's an extinction level event.
There has to be some sort of like catalyst that would cause the market to crash. 2001, the dot-com bubble kind of burst around the same time the Trade Center fell. So you have these kind of macro level events that cause this. So pay attention to those, and then that might affect it. One thing would be like China decides, hey, we're done negotiating. They decide to try to invade Taiwan. You're going to see the chip market go crazy. That would be a really good time to maybe short NVIDIA. So no offense to NVIDIA. But this is like when you're looking at these kinds of questions with buying stuff, you need to pay attention to this number. Because if people have free money to spend, they're going and they're working a job. Brian mentioned this. You did this a few videos ago, where it was talking about like, well, just because you want to short this because it's overvalued doesn't necessarily negate the fact that people putting money into a 401k index fund also puts money into that stock, just naturally. And what's the going mantra for most people that invest? Buy SPY and VOO and chill, or buy an index fund and chill. So that's what people are doing. They're buying index funds and, you know,
Set
video
it and
gets more
forget it.
money.
Every month you put in $500 or $700 or whatever it is.
This is why I try to tell people, don't try to play the market that way. If you've got money to burn, go for it. You know, go for the options and go for all that stuff. But most people I know, even the really wealthy ones, like the ones who've got tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, they're like, I can get a gallon of
No.
milk on sale. Check it out. My bananas were cheaper this week. That's how they think. They think like it's the money, it's a scarcity mindset. And even I think that way. Like I try to take care of my staff. I try to take care of my company. I try to take care of all the people as much as I can. I work like I'm going to die tomorrow. Like I'm trying to do everything right. But I go through under the assumption that, hey, just because it's good today does not mean that it'll be good tomorrow. So to answer your question, I don't see any signs that a pullback's going to happen just yet, especially not when you look at the GDP reports and the conflict at the Fed. Now, that may change. That could be different this fall. So can you guys explain how insurance companies handle tough situations like inflation high and lots of layoffs because AI and automation and price of goods are high and cheap EV are high?
Okay, before you answer that.
Go for it, Brian.
So Matt, yeah, I think like a year ago, was it, maybe Tom did cover the ETF for the Nancy Pelosi account.
Oh,
So every
yeah,
time
yeah.
she would buy something, they would buy something, and they tracked her that way. Yeah, so we did see that. We mentioned that like a few times over the years about how they're just making money. And
Good money,
the second
too.
thing is, prior to Reagan, were you able to deduct your credit card interest from your tax? Well, I was just a kid, so I don't know.
Yeah, Brian's old, but he's not that old.
No, I don't remember that. I'd have to look that up. So
That would be a
anyway,
good question for a tax person. So I'm going to read this again. How insurance companies handle tough situations like inflation or high inflation and lots of layoffs because of AI and automation. I think insurance is a little bit more adjusted than that. They've got bean counters for like every scenario, and most of the time when you look at like how Geico and some of these other, I know Geico's a Berkshire company, they've already got the worst contingency plans made. They have to have lots of cash flow on hand and lots of liquidity in case of like a FEMA level event.
right.
I think the layoffs and AI automation, a lot of times when you're looking at that, you're going to be looking at what the market thinks is going to happen in 6 months. So layoffs have been going on for, and I hate to say this, but probably since like the late 1950s, early 1960s. Like every 20 years, you get the young college kid who you can pay him pennies on the dollar, replacing the guy who's been there like 20, 25 years. That's right where I'm at, unfortunately.
You could even go back to the 1920s on that.
Oh,
Like after
with Ford.
Yeah, I mean, even after like the stock market crash, that was it 29 or something, that facilitated a lot of layoffs as well.
It did, and there was a run on the banks back then. So if it's really interesting, kind of what happened, because they had multiple problems and they had the Dust Bowl compounding that too, and there was a part to
Right.
play in like how that affected World War II. That's not the topic today. So,
Right.
as far as like insurance goes, I think you'll find that the layoffs and how they handle their finances and books, as far as like how this adjusts their balance sheet, is a lot smaller than you may think. They do this stuff already. The guy who's been there 20, 25 years, they're paying him 200,000 a year. I'm theoretically assuming that most people don't make that. But if
No.
you're getting paid that, why would they hire and keep you when they can hire two college graduates, which they have a contract with the university to get talent from them at half the price? So you go out the door, and now the company has two people that can be twice as productive. And as far as like AI goes, I think the thing with like insurance companies, it's going to help them as far as their profitability goes. It's not going to help the employees, which inadvertently, like you're stabbing yourself in the back by like laying off the same people that buy your products. So there is that. But I think that's going to take a lot longer to parse itself through because we've seen layoffs. I mean, it's almost like every 5 or 6 years. In fact, Amazon next week is coming out with, I think they're laying off thousands of people or something like that. This is a horrible thing, and gets us into like why we invest in dividend paying stocks because like it used to be that, and I try to treat my customers and my employees this way, but it used to be, and I'm not perfect, but the employer would hire you and they would say, I got your back. I'm with you. You're going to be here for your whole life. I'm going to give you a pension. You're going to have a good quality of life. And I believe in you and I'm going to stick with you. The moment that changed is the moment that a lot of these businesses started becoming more public because what does an investor think? An investor doesn't care. An investor wants profit. We're investors. We want our dividend checks. So how do you get dividend checks? Well, you do the 20-year-old layoff and you bring back the young guys. So I think in order for that environment to change, unfortunately, I think the stock market has to change. Or you have to intelligently invest into ETFs and like money market people, or even investing, like let's say you find somebody at Morgan Stanley who's looking for businesses who have an ethical component to their investments. Maybe there's an ETF out there that actually looks for businesses that, hey, we treat our people more than a number. Until that happens, I don't think it's going to change. And this is unfortunate because I don't like it, but what am I going to do about it? I can't do anything about that. Right. So as far as insurance goes, that's a way roundabout way of saying it. You're looking at earnings reports and investor, basically. In fact, we can look at like Geico, I think. I think they're public.
And insurance companies are pretty fluid as far as where they get their money from. Because if an area like California that's always on fire is costing them a lot of money, they just pull from that area and go to a different spot, because they don't like to lose money.
Didn't we look up Geico before? Don't they have a stock symbol? Are we just going to have to do like State Farm or something? Let's do State Farm.
Geico stocks.
State Farm municipal bonds. This is how they get money without having to pay a lot of interest. We'll have to look at that in the next fund, but there's like a growth fund here, State Farm growth fund. A lot of times with insurance, they will invest the own cash flow that they have in easy to withdraw funds. So this is why you see a lot of insurance companies pulling out of Florida. Mm-hmm. So yep. You get a big problem, they can't pull enough money out. And there was a good couple of articles, even on Wall Street, and actually Yahoo Finance covered it, where they were talking about what happens in the event that all these banks get called in their negative equity. Like there's a run on them and they go basically bankrupt. So this kind of almost sets us up for the conversation of what happened in 2008. But we're not going there today. I hope that covered the question. Yeah. At least I hope it did. Shouldn't cruise ships struggle soon and have negative earnings and charts should come down? Cruise ships and like travel and hospitality has always been tight. I can't think of a time that I've ever looked at a hospitality industry company like Carnival or any of the others where it hasn't been like on the bleeding edge of red. Like they're almost there. That's always there. That's why you see
ready to go bankrupt at any moment.
Yeah, it's
especially in 2020 when nobody was going on cruises, right?
Yeah, that's a tough industry.
The poop cruise, you got to watch that too.
Oh yeah.
The poop ship.
If you haven't seen that, there is, I guess, like what their septic system or something failed, and
well, they lost electricity and everything. They're dead in the water. They had a fire in the engine compartment, and the engines were dead, so they're just floating. And then they didn't have energy, so people were flushing the toilets, and then it backed up. The septic backed up, mm-hmm. and it was just spewing out into the hallways, just poop water.
Nothing says buy my stock like a good old septic problem.
Yeah, and they were out there for days in that. They like ran out of food, and like boats had to try and get food to them. It was crazy.
So yes, I think I think that like hospitality and stuff, again, back to investments, I'd run this by your financial guy and see what he thinks. We are not too much in that space. We can look at them, but they're very cyclical. It's almost kind of like looking at Devon Energy on our stock portfolio. I saw a good article that was really positive about Devon recently, and they're one of the only ones. Now they pay a dividend, so we're not have. I don't really care that they're down, but they're one of the only ones in our portfolio that's not making us a lot of money outside of the dividend check. Now we've bought these guys. Let me see if I can pull this down. Transactions. Oh, it's going to do it that way. You're going to do it that way. If you look at like, oh, it's the last 6 months. Let's do all. There we go. All. Here you go. So qualified dividend. We bought them in October. Hey, I saw the light. We bought them. I think it was like 2024. 20, so the first time we bought these guys was in 2022. But look at all of the dividends that we've made, and they're qualified between
And look at them go
them.
up. Look at them increase.
Yeah, so I think, so we're getting $37 a month. Sure, we bought them a few times between now, or
Right.
$37 a quarter, not a month. Let me say that right. But when we bought them back in 2022, so let's take this stock, even though it's cyclical, out 10, 15 years. This is only 3 years into it. Actually just over 3 years. What happens over 10, 15 years? When you're talking about investments, you got to look long term. You got to look at the companies that are trading bad. So like relative to their earnings today, 3M had a big problem with their masks. They had a lawsuit from the military, and they had to settle that. They spun off Solventum. We bought them when they were down, when nobody else said that, they're looking good right now. Same thing with Comerica. We sold them, and then when they were close to 43, 44% up because they weren't looking good. And then because they weren't looking good, Fifth Third came and says, "Hey, you guys look like you're on sale," and they
Things
bought
that
them.
are difficult to predict.
Yep. So the Fastenal is another one that's nuts and bolts. You can go into AT&T. That's telecom. People need cell phones, unfortunately, but they need them. You got Johnson and Johnson soaps and pharmaceuticals and stuff. Rio, it's a mining like lithium, copper. These are all businesses that produce. General Dynamics is probably the only exception here. They produce like the Abrams tank. ExxonMobil, that's oil. And if you think, oh, evil oil company, well, you know it's in cosmetics, right? And shampoos and soaps. So if you like clean people that don't smell like they just stepped out of a toilet, you need a little bit of oil at least. But Tom, there's other ways to do so. Okay, have fun with that. I don't think you're going to enjoy the lack of convenience there, but we try to find businesses that are trading low relative to their historical average. So we try not to look for like, hey, this company is going to have a problem. Now, to your point, hospitality could be struggling, and we could find a diamond in the rough there. So if you're looking and you find one that looks like, hey, Carnival, maybe they do have a big problem. And in fact, we will be looking at the credit card companies in the next few months just to see when the problem hits the head. It's like, when is this going to become a big problem? Maybe
Because
it
that's when
won't.
we buy.
Yeah, maybe it won't. And this is where it's a little bit nebulous of like, Tom, do you have a crystal ball? Brian, do you know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow? No, we don't. We don't. But this is why we do the stream. It's like, okay, what's happening? How do we adjust? How do we plan on this? There's other things happening that I think are like Greenland's a big thing going on right now. We've got a potential Ukraine peace deal that's going on. Um, I've worked for Fastenal for 15 years. It's done nothing but make me money. And me too. Thank you,
Welcome back, Bailey.
Fastenal. I've had Fastenal for since 2008. Look at this. Look at this. Let me go back to 2008.
You need nuts and bolts and screws and all that stuff.
Especially me, because they keep telling me I got a screw loose, Keep buying it,
You've
but I
never.
can't find where it went. Look at that. Let's ignore this big bubble and just look at like this chart right here. Even if you bought them way back then, look at and you didn't care about the
Dividend,
growth.
dividend. Split.
Split, dividend,
Split.
split. So I didn't have to worry about these guys at all.
Split.
Didn't have to worry about them at all because people need these products. And there's a board and there's employees like yourself that have to make sure they do a good job or they get fired. No offense to the employees, but like you gotta look at these businesses as, like I said earlier, because somebody tried to correct me on this. It's like, well, Tom, when you buy a stock, it's not a loan. No, I know that. I know it's not a loan, technically. But the business isn't going to go to the bank and say, hey, give me a $16 billion loan for 7% interest. They're not going to do that. They're going to issue shares and they're going to get that money that way. That's how they get their capital. I treat it as a loan because I want to know how they're going to pay me back. What are they going to do? Are they going to treat their people right? Are they going to have profit? Are they going to have things that on the back end are going to make sure that I can get my money back? And if you think at it from that lens, you're thinking of it more of a business owner or even somebody who's an employee. It's like, hey, I work here. Where's that money going? And there was a good article. I think Warren Buffett he was doing his annual conference. This is like, I want to say this was the early 2000s. And they asked him what he thought about a business, and he got really passionate once. And I've said this before. It's like, I want to know how much money they have, how much money they need, what they're going to do with it, when they're going to pay me back, how long it's going to take me back, and what exactly my gains are right now. And I'm like, whoa. This guy, I feel the same way because you can buy a stock and you can lose everything. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
You could.
And
then you're a bag holder. You sit there with all these shares that are worthless, and hopefully the company lasts and doesn't go bankrupt and you lose all that. And you're just sitting here holding it for years and years and years, hoping it will go up someday. You can make some of your money back.
Hopefully, it's like Zim. Anybody who bought Zim at $60 or $80 a share, I mean, they're paying a dividend again, which is good. It was kind of like, man, you're committed.
It's sporadic. The dividend it's sporadic. I still have my shares of Zim that I bought at 11. So,
and I don't have any problem with these companies. In case anybody asks, no, I don't think they're evil corporations or this is a bad business. I just think that when you look at their finances, it's not time yet. It's not
a bad investment now. So, I think there's something I wanted to say. If you go back to the Inside Davos, I wanted to finish that out.
Okay.
And scroll to where it's up to where the burglary chart is. Yeah.
I like the way you said it the first time.
Burglary. Burglary. He made a point in stating that if you scroll up a little bit about immigration, and this is one place where I disagree with him, is that 3 out of 4 immigrants in the EU are in their working age. So I think what he's assuming is that since they're in their working age, they are working and being a productive member of society, and maybe some of them are. But when you look at the reports, look at all the footage that's out there, they're not for the interests of the country they're in.
No, a lot of times.
So, and if you look at the chart, it goes from 2010 to 2023. So their biggest problems are 2024 and 2025, which it's not represented in the chart. So I want to see those 2 years and see how it goes up.
I think that's an interesting point. So he says it's bad, but then they show a chart that's 2 years old.
Right.
What does that mean?
And the biggest problems with immigration has been in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. So if he's going to say that, you can see a little bump here, but what happens after that?
But that was 2020 when nobody was going outside, right? So 2020, 2021, and then it starts to go up, and then I want to see 24 and 25 with that as well.
I think that's interesting when they talk about these big cities are dangerous and horrible. It's like, well, yeah, there's more people. So of course the crime rate's going to be higher. Your neighbors, you're almost breathing down their neck. You got a 400 square foot apartment times 5,000 people in one building.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a little bit more tension.
When I was in Italy, they have all these training courses on what kind of strap to get for your little man purse so that people can't cut the strap and steal them or pickpocket you. It's a really big problem. So, don't
just
venture
man
out.
Purse.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
You got a man
satchel.
purse? What is a man purse? What is that? Is that a thing? Is it
Yeah.
like an actual purse?
Well, we had looked kind of like a fanny pack. It was more fanny
Oh,
pack like, but
that's a man purse?
it went around you instead.
How do you steal a fanny pack? It's on like a belt.
You cut it.
You got like some guy sneaking up on you in a subway doing like a box cutter on your fanny pack?
Yeah, they got it down to a science. They just cut it
I was
and
gonna say
steal
that's
it.
some pretty mad skills to do that and have the person not only not notice, or even if they do notice,
Oh,
to
they
get away
notice.
with
Yeah,
it.
and they run.
That's something else. So there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, a little bit about what's going on in Iran, before we kind of dig into the individual worst performing stocks. Is there That's still going on. There's thousands of people now that have been killed, and there's Trump's threatening to actually bomb them because they said, we're not gonna go after the Christians, and we're not gonna go after the protesters, and then they actually did. So like they're still doing it, and they actually have a complete blackout of the internet, so you can't really get any news out of there. So this is why you kind of see it disappearing from the media. It's like, well, there's not a lot to say because we don't know. That our military probably does, but we don't know what's going on there. That's a sad, horrible thing. So I would not be surprised. And by the way, for the other article that Brian was talking about, let me put these links here. I would not be surprised if we did something in the near future here, because this is still happening and it's terrible. Wasn't there a Seinfeld episode about? Yes, there was. There was a Seinfeld episode about the man purse.
Oh, the man first, yeah.
So the regime is now claiming that there's been 4,902. Now, just for reference, the number of deaths is still under review at almost 10,000. When the Twin Towers fell, that was about 5,000 people. This is almost like double that. And the city of Holland has got 37,000 people in it, and they've arrested 26,541 people. Imagine if all these protesters here in the United States had this going on. I mean, that would be awful. So if you're a praying person,
They've arrested half of Greenland.
they have.
Half of the whole country is gone.
That's
in jail.
it's sad. It's like I mean, my prayer goes out to what's going on in Iran, because a lot of these protests, I don't think a lot of people know what's happening there. They are almost running out of water. Like Tehran has got no water left. They're not only rationing it, but sometimes the sinks go dry. So imagine you're like, oh, I'm really thirsty because you're in the desert, and I want to get a drink, and oops, I can't. Or you need to, like the cruise ship, you need to flush your toilet, and you can't. It just kind of sits in there and stews, like most of my jokes. But
You flush it, but it doesn't come back. It just goes away. It's like, damn.
Story of my life. But this is what I'm concerned about is the media's coverage of this. So
Right.
when you see this coming out and you see the left and the right, them covering this stuff, pay attention to both sides of the story, because there's a lot of things happening there where, like, I can't talk about this on social media, but this is actually happening. I mean, who in it's evil. Like, all I can say is it's just evil. The whole thing is evil. So when people say the United States is a crappy country and I don't like this and this is terrible, it is not. It's not. Go outside the United States and see
Yeah.
what it's like in some of these other places, and I think you'll find that we have it really freaking good here.
It's still the best country in the world.
Yeah, you need to be thankful.
Yeah.
I'm so old that when people mention Iran, I still think flock of seagulls. You know what? When I hear flock of seagulls, I think of the Weird Al skit where he's like, flock of seagulls, haircut, and only one nostril. Like that polka that he does. I'm actually kind of nerdy. I might actually be able to imitate him pretty well. But
I still think of Contra.
oh yeah,
I don't recall that Oliver North, Poindexter. Oliver North, I don't recall. I was just following orders.
the sedition is over now. Iran's prosecutor general Mohammed. Why is it always Mohammed? How many Mohammeds are there? Is that like a Mike or a Dave?
That's like John, you know.
My name is John. There's 5,000 billion Mohammeds. Said, according to the so the sedition is over. Yeah, because you killed everyone. But anyways, pay attention to this. Next time we do a stream, let us know. I want to know what's happening here. We got. I'm a Christian, so I do some prayer groups and stuff, and we'll send this around to hopefully try to stop the killing. Same thing with Ukraine. You can say that on Rumble. It's not community. I know, but I still want to like. The thing is, like, I want to help people financially, and I want to get the voice out there. So we have to be friendly to as many platforms as we can, because I really do think that not everybody sits way left or way right. Most people are somewhere in the middle, and I think a lot of times when you're on the media or social media, you forget that. And there is still a lot of good in the world too, and that's the other thing that you don't see when you watch the news. There's still a lot of nice people out there. You just have to ignore the drivers on the road.
Right. We could find a lot more in common than we can of adversity towards each other. I feel that.
And that's our kumbaya moment for the next 10 centuries. So as far as like buying a stock, the one I really wanted was ADP. Procter and Gamble was another one. Those were the two. And you know what's stupid is I didn't buy them and now they're up. Like they were worse. I hate that. Every time I buy a stock, it's like, oh, it goes down. Oh, I should have waited.
Press the button, man.
Or like I didn't buy it this time, and then it goes up. It's like, ah.
I didn't look. Did we buy a stock?
We did not. So we got so. $2,200, and I gotta do the thing. Got to do the thing. So
figure it out.
I wanted to buy Kimberly-Clark. They did buy Kenvue. That doesn't show up in their earnings report, at least as far as like looking at the financial statements yet. That's going to be strapped with a little bit of debt. Now, Kenvue, when Johnson & Johnson spun them off, they riddled them with debt, and their price just went kind of like that, just for the next year. And it was a really good opportunity for Kimberly-Clark to buy them, I guess. So, and you see this a lot. There's companies buying each other and selling off shares and doing things like AT&T and Warner Brothers. Now you got Netflix and what's the other one? Who's trying to buy Warner Brothers?
Paramount Skydance.
Paramount. Yeah, Paramount. So they're trying to do that. So this stuff is just like things that happen.
My prediction is Netflix is going to get it.
You think so?
Yep, I think Netflix is going to get it.
They could use it. Their content's kind of like they're reaching a bit now.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for Netflix. I don't think it'll be good for viewers. It's definitely not going to be good for theaters unless they somehow adopt a theater first mentality.
So the short squeeze on what's that theater company we covered? It was a Roaring Kitty stock.
AMC?
AMC, yeah, AMC Theaters.
Yeah.
You think it's time for them to struggle? We could look at them, maybe.
If it goes through, yeah, I think that would be time. AMC, Celebration. I don't know if Celebration is I think it's still private, maybe?
I think they are.
They're a Jack Loke's theater?
I wouldn't want to be in that business right now. I mean, how do you've got like these projectors coming out that are $2,000 now, the short throw ones that look amazing. And, why would you spend $100 going to the theater when you can just sit at home? Yes, it's an American experience, but I think with a lot of things, it's going away. So
it's still the experience. It's being there. And now, like, a lot of theaters are starting to serve food and beer and stuff. It's like a full bar that you can take to your seat and eat. So it's kind of like a drive-in type experience, but inside.
I think that's anti-productive, though. Here's Campbell's soup, by the way. They're not looking so good. At least compared to what they used to. If you're a family and you're trying to bring your kids to the theater, would you really want to bring it with a bunch of people drinking beer? Yeah.
But if you're watching a family show, I'm sure there's not a bunch of people drinking beer.
Let's go watch Zootopia 2 and have a bunch of beer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of beer drinking going on at Zootopia.
There might be. You never know. That whole romantic story there could.
I'm willing to bet on it. I'm willing to bet on it.
So what I want to know while we're talking with Campbell's is how many? Yeah, see, this is the good sign. They might be struggling, but they're not diluting. If you go and you look at Anali Capital, they're still diluting, even though the price of the stock has gone way up and people are throwing a bunch of equity in it because they think, oh, the lower rates are going to fix their problems. Not right away. Yeah, no, not quarter one. So this is the Campbell's got a really weird quarterly report. So if you look at this cash from operations, and by the way, if you came here looking for Greenland, we talked about it. Go back. You can go back and look at my super beautiful and voluptuous face, and Brian just
Watch
shaking
it
his
on
head half
times
the time.
two, catch yourself up.
Yep. If you watch it on times two, I might talk normally. That's a self-realization problem there. Yeah, what we need is Chris Farley. That's what we need.
Oh,
Net change in cash is positive, just like we thought. Let's go annual because those are quarterlies. Let's look at that. I kind of like what I'm seeing. Kind of like what I'm seeing here too. There's less going out than coming in. Campbell's
we
is
got
a contender.
1,800 short-term issued though.
Let's before I go too far, because we've been looking at this for like 3 weeks now. So if in case you're wondering, like, what the heck are they doing? We've thought about this back and forth a lot, so we have a pretty good idea what we want. If we look in terms of market cap, you've got like Procter and Gamble, ADP. They're sitting at about 5,000, 4,000. So ADP is a pretty good. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking at them. You've got all of these other ones. So Rumble is a pretty good one, but man, when you look at Rumble, I mean, no offense to Rumble, but I would not want to be their bean counter right now.
This is more of an let me try that again. Ideological buy more than, because it's counterintuitive to how we are generally purchasing stock. But we really want these people to succeed, and I think it is a good investment as far as if they can succeed. If they can't, then you're losing all your money. But this is why we use our dividends and stuff to buy it, and not money that we need, right?
This is where somebody says, Tom, you can't buy anything risky. Oh, yeah, I can't chew.
See?
3 o'clock in the morning when I'm not sleeping, thinking about why am I doing this YouTube thing? What is wrong with me? I had it going on, man. Just destroying myself. So total
Lockheed
operating
Martin. Oh, wait a minute. Which one are you looking at? So do you guys think Lockheed Martin, I mean, the military commodities companies preparing in high supply and demand soon because things are escalating with Venezuela, Iran, Greenland?
What do you think, Brian? He's asking about like the opportunity with Lockheed Martin.
Right. Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics and Northrop Grumman and all those. I would have to see about the contracts. I would dive into their earnings report and everything to see what contracts they all have and what the potential is with that.
We have General Dynamics, just so you know. They just signed a new contract with the feds. It's an increased one. But there's a lot of turmoil there because the expectation, the bar has been raised. Like, hey, actually do something. I think is what they told them. So
how many
I
times
would have to compare them
ahead.
to General Dynamics. That's my opinion on it. What else we got?
And he also asked, how many times should you be concerned if a stock of yours dilutes shares, example, one time or multiple times, and how much of it?
Ooh.
There's a lot of variables that go into that. If they're diluting, but they're making money and they're still able to pay their dividend and such, then we have to figure out why they're diluting. Are they trying to get money to do something else? Are they making a big purchase? You know, there's a lot of variables in there.
There's a good example.
And if it's not a REIT.
Go ahead, Brian.
Said, and it's not like an alley. It's not a REIT.
Oh, you got me. See, this is where I was going. I was going to an alley. I told people that there's been only three stocks that I ever lost money on, and Anali was one of them, unrealized. But I never sold them. So I've had them for like 9 years, and they've been paying this 10% dividend, watching them get diluted the whole time. If you're going to own a business like this, be cautious. Sometimes the share dilution has a good reason. Sometimes they're growing. In this case, they're diluting because their finances aren't that great. And it's been like that for a long time. The reason why the stock has gone back up is because the federal policy may be positive to them, and they're the largest mortgage-backed security company. So you're going to have a lot of positive things happening with these businesses, but it doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to buy them today because I need to go. I'm in the wrong place. There we go. There we go. Special item. No, hang on. I'll get there. You asked me a question and it derailed myself. There we go.
While you're looking that up, Matt, people take their kids to baseball games, and boy, is there beer drinking going on there. Yeah, baseball games, football games, hockey. There's a lot of sporting event drinking going on, but that's different than if there's a lot of drinking going at like a Little League game. That's the difference.
I would contend the only difference is that one, they're outside, where you can see them.
Right.
And but they're inside in the other environment.
I think the biggest difference is that is an adult entertainment sporting, like it's adult sports, right? If you go to a Little League game, which is kids playing, that's a completely different scenario. And that's how I see like rated R movies versus PG or G movies, right?
I don't know. I would say Little League sports, if you got the right soccer mom there, would probably be kind of like a rated R movie.
Rated R and like how she acts, but I'm pretty sure unless she's got a flask that's like hidden in her water bottle.
That poor umpire.
Pretty sure they're not drinking.
You can't do anything right, and boy, he picked the wrong day today.
I picked the wrong day to quit sniffing glue.
My son does never fouled, ever. Yeah, no, thank you. We see some of that because I got young kids. I'm like, wait, she's 10. It's a dance class. Chill out. It's not going to determine her financial future. She might still be a doctor, but her ballet is not going to determine whether or not she's going to have her medical residency. Just so you know. But they don't know that. Back
and Matt
to...
has rumble.
Oh, you did?
Hang on to that rumble, Matt. As God is my witness, it's going to go up. It's going to the moon.
Or it's going to crater into a wall.
Or they'll just go bankrupt.
This is why we don't have a lot of rumble stock. I hope they become profitable. There's a lot of good things going on, but they're not there yet.
They're working. They're working hard at being successful. So hopefully it continues.
Here's your question about share dilution. This is Anali Capital's one of the good examples. There's a few others that we have in our portfolio. Going back to 2020, they had 350, I think it's million. 350 million shares. And that's now 578 million shares that are now outstanding. That means you buy a stock and, if you call them, they have to pay you back. And there's that many of them out there. When you look at the price of the stock relative to this, I gotta pull it up on my super fast internet. And we go back the same time. I can't do Max. Look at Max doesn't tell a good story either, but let's go back 5 years. You had, now there's a split here, but it's a reverse split. So it's not like what you saw with Fastenal, where Fastenal you've got twice the amount of shares and your dividend check gets doubled. This is like you get cut in a quarter.
You had 4, now you got 1.
As far as the dividend's concerned. So like when you're looking at a company that's issuing more shares in the price, the equity in the business is still going down. Now that's not been the case if you go back all the way to April. So they've had a pretty good last 8-9 months. But I would say this is a recovery situation. not a growth situation. And the reason why they've been diluting is if you look at, I got to go back to their statement. And this is why we talk about be careful of the dividend trap. Go to their income statement.
Thank you, Matt. I do have very good points.
Matt, you're supposed to say it. That's a good point, Brian.
You haven't said that in a while. I haven't had good points evidently lately.
Yeah, Brian hasn't said, I don't think so, Tom. At least not in public. So look at their net income. They're on the edge. So if you take the 2.7 and you add this up, it's 4, and then you got 3. So they've had a good recovery from the reclassified earnings in 2021, and that's a good thing. So if you look at their quarterly statement here and you pull up the net income, they are actually recovering, and this is why the stock is going up. So be careful with share dilution, because it's kind of like what happens if you want a really simple explanation. When the Fed prints money, your dollar's worth less. When a business dilutes, your shares are worth less, unless they have a plan for it that grows the business. So make sure you know why they're diluting, because it's most of the time it's not good. Right. Warren Buffett even says that share buybacks are what he likes to do instead of dilution. And that's one way to gain unrealized gains where you don't have to pay taxes, where you get free dividends without having to worry about that big Uncle Sam. Because like I said, the moment you stick your head above the crowd with earnings, boy, you pay. Unless you're a billionaire, you pay a lot. In fact, if you look at AI and you go to Grok or Copilot or Google AI, and you look at the largest expense for the top 10% of households, it's taxes. So something to keep in mind there. But anyways,
So
we're not. Oh, go ahead.
For Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Studio, and I don't know if you mean AT&T, but Netflix, I would say Netflix stock goes down, Warner Brothers stock's going to go up. Warner Brothers will be split. The movie and production studio will go to Netflix. The pay-per-view no, Disney has ESPN, CNN, and ABC, and those type of stations will be sold off. But Warner Brothers stock will go up. Netflix will probably go down.
Warner Brothers has a financial issue, and that's kind of why AT&T dumped them. No offense to Warner Brothers or AT&T, and that's still there, and that has to do with the way consumers are now consuming media. And it's the same thing like New York Times and these big agencies. They get paid for clicks now, which is why you see this whole extremism thing. That's not immune to Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers, Hulu, which I guess Disney just absorbed, or any of that. So I think I want to see what they do with the pieces of Warner Brothers and the stuff that's good, because Warner Brothers does have some things going for it. So now what you have, Anali, is worth more since your shares have been diluted to -1, which means no dividends and gain to you. And it depends on how long you hold the stock. That's why we say that time in the market beats trying to time the market. And we bought Anali, and if you look at them, look at the percentage that it is for, like, if you do cost basis, you sort a portfolio by that. We bet big on Intel. There's a reason for that, and get into that maybe another day, because we're running out of time today. But if you look at the wherever it is, where'd it go? There they are.
Down, stop.
Yeah, they're pretty low as far as weighted averages go in our portfolio. In fact, they are in the bottom 4. AT&T,
well, we are up.
We are up. So we've made money. So think about that for timing perspective. We tend to do okay, and they're still paying this. It's ridiculous. They're an REIT. REITs do that.
12%.
That's a taxable dividend. So keep that in mind. A taxable dividend, if you're in the 37% tax bracket, that's if you think, I'm going to make $100 for every $1,000 I give them. No. You're making $63. And in this case, AT&T is a qualified dividend. They pay 4.7. So you're making not that much less with AT&T. And the Anali dividend has been all over the place, and I think you can show that too real quick. Let me pull that up. Dividends. We haven't looked at this all day today. There you go. There's your
Look
dividend.
at go down.
Do you like that? I don't like that. And this is partially the problem.
That's the state of a real estate investment, though. When you go into a REIT, it's not a steady dividend. It depends on their balance sheet.
And they are paying out 130% of their earnings right now, and they can only cover 3/4 of that. That's why they're diluting. If you want it in a nutshell, there you go. Now, mortgage rates going down, the Fed lowering rates is going to help these guys, so you're going to see these numbers improve. And that equity is going to show up in the stock price appreciation, but that doesn't change the fundamental issue with them. So, hope that answers.
Yep.
Why
That's
can't
the
I
same
just
issue
answer
with
that
Zim as
quickly in
well.
the beginning?
I don't know. You got a lot of words to use.
I do.
You might be running out of words, though.
I am. I get no more words. This is when people tune in. It's like, why isn't he not saying anything?
This is why we like people talking to us, because it gives us more to talk about.
Rumble, I want to see if their $200 million deal that they had in their viewership, because their viewership has been going up a lot. That's really good for them. But they could be a candidate. Remember, the public companies can be bought out, so they could, and that could happen, which would be good for the stock. But if you're thinking that they're going to stand alone on their own without the other competition like YouTube and the other places like TikTok not taking notice of that, think again. It might happen. I don't know. I mean, it happened to Comerica. I don't have that crystal ball.
And speaking of viewership, if you're still watching this and you're not subscribed or not a follower, go ahead and hit that button right now, because we're trying to get to 100 followers on Rumble so we can get that whole creator thing that they have.
Yeah, we want to actually make this like a legitimate thing at some point in 25 years at my rate. But look at Kimberly Clark. Look at that. That says opportunity.
And hitting the like button really actually does help with the algorithm to get us out there for more people.
So share dilution.
I'm done.
Let's talk about Kimberly Clark toilet paper.
Let's talk about dividend growth.
Yeah. Can you imagine working for an employer that actually gave you, no, I don't want to hear anything out of you, Brian, a 3 to 4%, 7% raise every year? No, I'm kidding. But like you've got this, you get a pay raise every year.
Yeah.
4, 7, 2, 2, 3, 3.
It doesn't always match inflation, but it's there. It's something. It's better than going down like an alley.
I think their payout ratio is what it is right now because of the buyout. And their earnings are a little bit worse than they've been. Kimberly Clark's not had a good year. But let's talk about that. Let's look at their stock. 5 years, terrible performance. If you look at our portfolio, all those dividend pay raises are coming, sure. Terrible performance. Look at the positions. Look at where we're at with Kimberly Clark. And I got to sort it by like the bombs. Down 17%. So even if I sold them, let's go to transactions. I wouldn't. I mean, people need toilet paper. That's ridiculous to think they wouldn't.
I got a bidet.
Yeah, and it's cold. How do you do that?
It's like a $35 bidet, but it works.
Look at these dividends. $71, $30,
I know, right?
$30, $30, all qualified. Look how far back it goes, years. So we're 2023 till now. Even though they're
paying us.
One of our worst performers, and it used to be Devon, it used to be 3M, it used to this stuff goes,
used to be AT&T.
Used to be AT&T. AT&T was our worst performer for a long time, and we said hang in there, and we did. We don't sell stocks unless there's a really freaking good reason to, and when you sort it by cost basis, back to the whole, look at what Anali Capital is. You got to take out Honda Motor Corp and Comerica in there because I wanted to watch them and fact check myself, see how well we did. Because you have only one share in these. So as far as like the risk goes, Anali is number 4, and it's only $2,000 of a $117,000 portfolio. So we do not. In fact, here's another good point to that metric. If you go to Seeking Alpha, you can put in your portfolio in there. Like I said, go to our channel, check the link. There's something down there, so you can add yours to this, and it'll show you this. Look at their profitability grade. Comerica was the worst one. That's the one share. American States and Waters Utility. Utilities are highly regulated, so you're not going to ever see A plus out of them. And anytime you do, you're going to see a lot of people protesting about their energy bill. So look at the rest of them, though. This gives you a really good idea, even UPS, of what we talk about with, I want to make sure they can pay their bills. So there you go.
Yep.
Let me fix this.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers acquisition of AT&T a few years later, they split, then Discovery, and now Netflix. Yeah. I'm going to buy a crystal ball so I could get out my crystal ball predictions and see if you agree with me, Tom. If Netflix buys Warner Brothers and that deal goes through, they split it, sell off half of it, keep the production, I think Netflix absorbs it. So Warner Brothers eventually just becomes Netflix, right? If Paramount buys it, I think they keep it separate because they're going to buy in. Their idea was to purchase the entire Warner Brothers and bring it in with Paramount. So it'd be Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers, so that they could sell it off at a later date if they have to. But I think if it goes Netflix, it just gets absorbed.
Crystal ball with Brian. We need that like in a big echo boomer or booming boomer voice. Crystal ball moment with Brian. No, a boomer voice.
Crystal ball.
Yeah. We need that. Except we don't get paid, so I don't have any money to like make that happen.
Take this with a grain of salt. This is my prediction.
I think Brian's probably right. You see a lot of these companies get rebranded, renamed, reissued. What they're looking for is the like the distribution rights. They're looking for the legal stuff that says, "Hey, we can sell and produce this." Kind of like what happened with Lucasfilm and Star Wars. That's why they want them. So I think you're going to see some of that. I would agree with that to some degree. There's only one other one I want to look at. Devin had some positive news. But I think
we don't like buying the entire sectors. So like Pepsi and Coke, if that's what you're talking about. And we got Exxon and Chevron. Or MasterCard and Visa.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
It's a mountain.
It's like a volcano. Look at it. It looks like a volcano.
Back in 2022, there was a lot of YouTubers that were covering Devon as the greatest thing. Look how they did. Not so good. Look at the payout ratio, though. Look at the coverage ratio. Holy crap. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that warrants more research. I want to know why. Other than, like, they went from 10% to 2%. When you
That's the equivalent of 110 over 70 blood pressure.
Yeah, this is
a couple quarters there.
We told people when we bought Devon, you can go way back to that video, that this was a dividend trap and we're buying it to show them that. And boy, was it ever. I kind of want to buy them now for different reasons, though. But the thing is, we got $6,500 of Devon, so I really think, and you guys control me all you want. You can say, hey, that's a dumb decision. And I'm cool with that. I'm good at being dumb, as everybody knows.
I'll come back at you with a couple stocks that you'll see, and you'll go, "Oh my God, this is actually not bad."
It'll be too late. I gotta buy something today.
We gotta buy. Yeah, it's the 23rd.
I still like ADP. I still like what I'm seeing here. Their coverage and payout ratio is low. You're coming into tax time. When companies like Google and Amazon lay people off, they have to pay a fee for that as a PEO. And honestly, ADP has to run the reports. So a lot of these reports you see Wolf Street and these other guys, some of that comes from companies like ADP. So I still like these guys. It's not a big yield, but again, you go back and you look at the numbers. And again, if you're tuning in, we talked about Greenland earlier. Go check that out prior, and then you can ignore all the finance stuff if you want now. But I mean, hey, that's if you don't want to make the money we're making, then fine,
We need to split this up into segments maybe,
probably.
and then title them. I don't
The,
know. That's a lot of work.
I'm going to call it the "Please Don't Fire Tom" segment, and then we're going to title the other one, "Wow, Tom is a big nerd and Brian cannot fix that problem." And he also thinks he's funny. No, I still like ADP. I think it should be ADP.
I love the dividend.
Any objections from anybody here? Have you guys thought about using your dividends to buy the competitive companies of the ones you hold? Especially, yeah, you covered that, Brian.
Yeah, I covered that, Visa and MasterCard and all that, yeah.
I went on a rant about that a while ago, and I think you said it a lot better than I would have, so I'll just leave it at that.
I think the only way that works is if we create like an antithesis account. So if we buy Visa, we buy MasterCard in the other one with lower quantities, of course, but
I think it's going to be ADP. Do we want to throw a little bit into Rumble?
always.
Don't die. It's not dead yet.
Not quite dead. What are you going to do? Bleed on me?
I mean, their numbers don't look great, so there is that problem.
They still got a couple $100 million to spend from from their partnership.
Yeah, and that big negative earnings number, those are investments. That's not we lost all this money. They're trying to grow. So I'm not that concerned about that. What should we buy instead of Rumble though that could benefit from? I really think I want to buy more of AT&T or Verizon, but I wouldn't buy both. But I they're up 50%. Their earnings got to meet that number, and they don't. Fastenal too.
That's the problem.
Fastenal's
now there's a bunch of.
Good.
I asked Grok, just out of curiosity, when I was doing all the Greenland stuff. Let me see if I can find it. Grok. Where you at? Where are you? Here. Okay. What I asked it was or a referendum voted on by the people of Greenland, what mining and energy companies stand to benefit the most. And it came out with a whole bunch of things, but it came up with some I've never heard of. I haven't researched any of these, but some of these are ones that are already in Greenland. So we'll see. One was Critical Metals Corp, CRML.
Okay.
And Amaroq Minerals Limited, AMRQ. Greenland Resources,
company?
Mali.
I
think some of these. Actually, that's on the European exchange. So we'll just do NASDAQ. So CRML. Then it said, of course, ExxonMobil and Chevron both have a chance. MP Materials, which is Mountain Pass Mining, which is just MP. So of the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, those are the ones that Grok thought would come out ahead.
We'll have to look at those maybe for next month. So I think I'm thinking of ADP because that'll get it up to 6,000. The problem is when all your stocks are making you really good money, it creates a really almost a vacuum of what do you buy? Because
you want to buy the beat up stock that's good company that's down.
Yep. So I think I've got this up here where I'm buying 8 shares. Now, if you're going to follow along, please, I don't know your financial situation. Fact check me with your financial advisor. If you got a credit card debt or car payment or something, maybe take care of that first. If you're not maxed out your 401k, that. So this is us. We are
not your financial advisors.
Yeah.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
And I missed the market, so this isn't going to go through until the 26th. So maybe ADP will go down all weekend. No, it might probably go up 40%, and then I get cut in the face. All right, so we're going to do ADP. Next time we do a stream, we'll cover what our dividends are. Yeah, it's open. It would have been closed already. So then I think I want to wait on the rest. There's about $150 left that we could put into Rommel, but I want to wait until Monday or Friday. So if Brian, if you're streaming Monday or next week Friday, and all of a sudden you see like the cash go down, I YOLO'd it. I bought something. What stock do you expect to grow or rise if the stock price soon to earnings, or most likely would you expect all the ones you hold to remain stable? I would expect all of the stocks I hold to remain stable. I'm trying to look for the wave. I'm trying to ride the low part of the wave, and my holding period is the same as Warren Buffett's. It's forever. I don't sell very often because, one, you pay taxes. Now, if you hold it for a year, you're not going to pay the same. You're going to pay capital gains rates, but no, I like that qualified number. So what we should see, so that was 2.6. What does ADP pay? 2.65. So if I give them 1,000, they're going to pay me $26 a year, which is roughly $2 or so a month after taxes on a qualified. So if you look at this, we're up another $4. So what I would expect to see is $313 becomes about $317, maybe $318. Because I'm including like after taxes. That would be before tax. So it might probably about like $318. And that's rain or shine, baby. That's doesn't matter. Market's gonna. You still need toilet paper. You still need nuts and bolts, and you still need roofing materials. And yes, you need Campbell's soup and goldfish. Buy the goldfish.
Well, you don't need goldfish. Your kids need goldfish. You don't need goldfish.
If your kids do not have goldfish, you will die. You need goldfish.
Okay.
Even the fake meat that guy said that existed that doesn't actually exist. So
fake meat, it exists. It just doesn't exist there.
That's all I got. You got anything to add, Brian? And does anybody have any other comments before we call it a stream?
Yeah, I got everything off my chest.
Go look at the used car market. And go look at the new cars. Compare the two. Carvana in trouble. So
maybe we'll talk about the housing market on Friday, next Friday.
Yeah, we could. That could be a thing. Going once. If you're just tuning in, rewind. Sorry, we're calling it a day because I'm old and I got a tiny little bladder.
Like, subscribe, follow. Join us on Locals. There's nothing there.
Yeah, join the community that has nothing going on.
We need content.
That's not desperate. No, I think that's it. Like I said, if you're tuning in, I see a bunch of people jumping in. Rewind. We'll come back next week Friday. Maybe Brian will be here Monday, maybe not, but it's going to be once a week, probably on Fridays. We should have a very interesting thing to talk about with the housing market because we had a very interesting thing to talk about with the car market. And then some of this with Greenland. Not enough there for us to figure out whether or not ExxonMobil or Chevron. I do think it's going to benefit ExxonMobil more. So try the pizza flavor goldfish. Yes. No. Very fattening.
Okay, those are good. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, they're good. Though.
They're delicious. Not as delicious as pizza combos, but they're good.
Intel is the stock of the year for the channel. Which one should you expect would be next? That is a very good question, and that's what we're trying to figure out. If you look, so 241% gain. If you look at the portfolio performance, our cumulative is around 30. Oh, it's 35 now. So we're getting about 13.5% per year, excluding dividends. The stock of the year, honestly, it might be Kimberly-Clark. Not sure yet. So I don't have that crystal ball. Ryan, you really need to get one.
Gotta buy one.
Yeah, thanks, Philip, for joining us. We'll see you next week. Anybody else?
Bailey, Matt, as always, thank you for joining us on Rumble.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to call it. Thank you everybody for watching. I will see you next week. And if you've got comments, please add them. I
Yep.
saw some people asking about stocks. We will take a look at those at some point, hopefully. And we will see how these global events affect what we're buying every single week.
Yep. And as always, happy
Happy
stream.
investing. Happy
Ah,
streaming.
damn. Happy investing.
What'd
Why
you
do I do that?
do? You killed it. It's almost
Happy
like we
investing.
got to keep talking and we can't stop talking. And oh my gosh, the stream is stopping.